Coming up on Jerusalem Dateline, the power struggle over Gaza continues. No surrender from Hamas and pressure from the U.S. to make a deal. Plus, indisputable evidence from October 7th comes to light. And straight talk from Chuck Holton and Paul Strand about how Western thinking doesn't work in the Middle East and could prolong war. All this and more coming up on this edition of Jerusalem Dateline. Hello and welcome to this edition of Jerusalem Dateline. I'm Julie Stahl. The IDF continues operations in Gaza as ceasefire talks begin in Qatar. Israeli forces have destroyed more than 50 tunnels on the Gaza-Egyptian border in recent days. Israel sent a high-level delegation to Qatar this week for talks intended to end the Israel-Hamas war and bring home the hostages. Also this week, Iran came under one of the largest cyber attacks ever. As Israel continues under threat of an attack from Iran, ceasefire talks begin in Qatar today without a Hamas representative. The U.S. and Europe are pressing hard for a ceasefire deal to end the Gaza war, free hostages, and possibly stop an Iranian attack.
All eyes and the hopes of millions in Israel and millions in Gaza are pinned on this Thursday on the possible talks about a deal.
President Biden is banking on a ceasefire deal he believes could bring the region back from the brink of war.
President Biden has spared no effort reaching out to world leaders to bring as much force behind this effort as possible.
Hamas is still holding to its position that it won't surrender power in Gaza.
A ceasefire is one thing and surrender is something else. It's unthinkable for a Palestinian to surrender.
Meanwhile, according to the New York Times, the U.S. is telling Israel there's nothing left to accomplish in Gaza since it's killed or captured some 14,000 Hamas fighters. They believe the terror group can't ever carry out another attack like October 7th. Retired Israeli Major General Yaakov Amidor disagreed, saying if Israel evacuates its forces now, within a year Hamas will be strong again. The IDF's top general says its forces in Gaza are still needed to pressure Hamas to surrender the hostages.
Hamas should know that every day they hold our hostages, it will be more bitter for them than the day before. We will make it worse until we manage to return the hostages.
In northern Israel, Iranian proxy Hezbollah continues to launch projectiles at the Jewish state. Iran itself came under a large-scale cyber attack, shutting down the country's ATM machines and causing major disruptions in financial institutions. Anti-regime activists reportedly hung signs blaming the regime's financing of regional wars for the shutdown. Back in the U.S., Columbia University's president resigned after months of turmoil over her handling of pro-Palestinian protests and threats to Jewish students on campus. While Israeli forces continue hammering Hamas in Gaza, the Biden administration is hoping its efforts towards a ceasefire will avert a regional war. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump said he supports Israel's right to win its war on terror. The Biden administration is pushing hard for a ceasefire agreement. Thursday, negotiations resumed in Qatar.
As we speak, my team is in Doha right now.
The White House insists the talks are off to a good start.
The resumption of these talks is an important step. And in the lead-up to this meeting, we'd already narrowed some gaps.
The U.S. hopes the talks will stop Iran or Hezbollah from launching massive attacks on Israel. The U.S. says those threats appear very real.
We continue to have that information that an attack could come with little or no warning, and certainly could come in coming days.
As for the ceasefire talks, the State Department admits negotiators may face challenges, including Hamas not showing up in the room.
There, of course, is a lot of work that remains ahead. This is a complex situation and a complex agreement. Our partners assured us that Hamas would be represented in one way, shape, or form, and they certainly would be part of the ongoing conversations.
Meanwhile, Israel continues to target Hamas in Gaza.
Attacking everywhere until now, we have killed over 17,000 terrorists.
The IDF also destroyed more than 50 terror tunnels in the Gaza Strip and along its border with Egypt in just the last month.
We're not willing for Hamas to have this presence and this capability in the Gaza Strip.
And the Israeli military says it's totally ready if Hezbollah or Iran launch massive attacks in the days ahead.
We continue to gather intelligence and to prepare for strikes in the skies of Lebanon and in all arenas all the time. We are at the peak of preparedness in attack and defense.
In the U.S., former President Donald Trump, the Republican candidate for president, spoke at an event to fight global anti-Semitism.
This vicious outbreak of militant anti-Semitism is very militant, must be given no quarter, no safe harbor, no place in a civilized society.
He also said he supports Israel in its fight to defeat its enemies.
When I'm back in the Oval Office, I will support Israel's right to win its war on terror. They have to have a right to win the war.
Coming up, a carefully planned massacre. Evidence comes to light from October 7th. The next two stories may be hard to watch, but they have information about Hamas and October 7th that much of the world is still denying. The first story shows physical evidence from October 7th that's come to light and about the diabolical planning that went into pulling off the massacre. The second story takes us to Kibbuts Nirim, still a war zone, and we'll hear from one of its residents, Adele Raemer. We're running these stories back to back, and then we'll hear from correspondents Chuck Holton and Paul Strand about their takeaways. The story of October 7th continues to unfold as new materials captured inside Gaza and Israeli territory are exposed. Vehicles, weapons, pictures, and clips, most of them made by Hamas and Islamic Jihad through their GoPros, help to tell the story of that fateful day. CBN News was given a look at some of the items. One of the most shocking things is how Israel's enemies instilled hatred of the Jews in the young for years, as displayed in these children's books. After the initial attack that morning, civilian mobs, including children and the elderly, joined the terrorists. Attackers came equipped with cameras on their foreheads and chests to document the rampage. On one of the terrorists killed in Ofakim, soldiers found a guide instructing them to focus on taking video of combat, killing, and captured prisoners, then explaining how to put all of it on social media. A 10-minute film compilation focuses on the attacks at the Nova Festival and in the communities surrounding the Gaza Strip. Some invaders carried UNRWA and international identification, while a handwritten note from one commander found in Sderot describes their enemy as an incurable disease that can only be dealt with by decapitation and uprooting hearts and livers. And an Arabic cheat sheet told how to say phrases in Hebrew like "take off your clothes." Many items add to the gruesome story, including kidnapping kits containing a stun gun similar to a taser, zip ties, a tourniquet, and drugs to calm down their victims. There was a Kalashnikov with a bayonet, machetes to cut off organs, which they did very systematically. There's a map of the layout of Kibbutz Be'eri, where more than 100 were killed and 30 taken hostage.
I really wish I could say that I was shocked, but unfortunately I'm not. Islamic fundamentalists, jihadists, have always said it's about, the Saturday people first and then the Sunday people. So first it's about killing the Jews, and then it's about coming for the Christians. Whatever we see that they try to inflict on us, we know that it's going to happen next in the Christian world.
Ari Gottesman also viewed the materials. After seeing them, he spoke of being moved by seeing plans which dated back years alongside the actual events.
Which means this wasn't just an overnight response to something. No, this was a methodological, planned, ongoing attack with not a focus on soldiers or military gains of strategic value, but rather just to sow terror, just to harm innocent people, to target people in their beds, in their homes, their pets.
Gedalia Bloom, director of the Heartland Initiative Public Diplomacy Program, says seeing the artifacts and physical evidence made him realize that this is not just a local conflict.
This is a global incident that had support from all over the world. Those people who are physically arming the Hamas terrorists, giving them the intelligence they need, and supporting them, whether it be UNRWA funding, Iranian intelligence. This should be seen as it really is, that this is a war against the West and Israel's at the front lines.
Bloom believes instead of trying to use this evidence to convince those who deny the attack, Israel should use it to bolster those who love and support Israel.
We need to stop playing defense and start playing offense and start winning more. That's also my big takeaway, is that we need to use this in order to strengthen our own resolve and to build better capabilities to strengthen Israel.
Thank you for coming down to my kibbutz, which is still a war zone, where we are refugees in our own land. We cannot live here. It's a closed military zone. I am with 70% of my community still living in Beersheba for now as an interim solution until we can finally come back home.
Adele Raemer shared with CBN News the challenges of still being separated from friends and neighbors. That's one reason she remains focused on advocating that her community be rebuilt so residents can safely return.
When you live on kibbutz, you don't lock your door. You go outside to the lawn, you see neighbors, you go to the little convenience store. We're 430 people in this community, and I know everybody. Kibbutz is so much more than just the houses and the dining room and the fields. Kibbutz is community.
Adele took us back to the day Hamas changed her beloved home while enjoying a visit from her son.
This is where I was on October 7th. My son was sitting by the door holding down the handle, and I was sitting on the bed, and many of these rooms were infiltrated by terrorists because it's easy to open up. The doors can only lock as it is. It can only lock if you're pulling down on the handle and if you're strong enough to keep it closed.
She then took us to another place, a key site for Raemer that day.
We're going to go into my son-in-law's house. This is where I almost lost my 3 grandchildren on October 7th.
Wow.
The terrorists came into the house. My son-in-law was one of the first responders, so he had a gun, and he was with the children in the safe room, and he heard the terrorists enter the house.
At that point, they could only wait inside the safe room.
My 3 grandchildren were on that bed, and he told them, hide under the blanket. You're going to hear a loud noise. Don't come out from under the blanket no matter what happens. He raised his gun and waited until he saw the handle of the safe door moving, and he kicked open the door to the safe room and shot the terrorist who was right there, right in front of the door.
Raemer says a number of miracles happened on her kibbutz. One example, no children were kidnapped from Nerim.
And then I realized that was supposed to be my 3 grandchildren. If he had not been here with his gun, they would have been murdered or kidnapped.
3 IDF soldiers entered the kibbutz early on and bravely fought terrorists until they lost their lives.
Their bodies are in Gaza. And on the wall here it says, Kan nilchamu ba'oz giborei Yisrael. This is where heroes of Israel fought bravely. That was another one of the little miracles that happened that day.
Standing by the fence the terrorists broke through, Raemer says Nerim suffered in more ways than one.
There are so many people here in this region that were peace activists, that worked for peace. And we built so many bridges that just collapsed that day. And these are the people that those animals, those monsters, thought that they should come on over and slaughter.
Now Adele focuses on moving forward. Currently, the kibbutz is renovating its dining room with bomb shelters on both floors, moving the convenience store to a more secure area, and repairing other infrastructure. Adele hopes to make improvements to her own house before she returns, especially upgrading the bomb shelter to make it safe from terrorists and gunfire, not just from rockets. She also plans changes, including windows, doors, and a bigger porch.
That will be my victory. That will be how I will reclaim my house, my life. I had so much stolen from me, and there's no way I'm going to let that stand. So I will be back here building bigger and better, as we're going to be doing with the community, so that young families are going to be willing to come back, and new families, hopefully with young children, will want to join us.
Up next, the realities of life in the Middle East that don't match up with Western thinking. I'm here now with war correspondent Chuck Holton and Middle East correspondent Paul Strand. Gentlemen, welcome.
Glad to be here.
So, Paul, you've been in Israel just for about a year and a half now. What's changed in your understanding since you came here?
Well, for one thing, back in the West, everybody's always talking about land for peace. Israel can have peace if they'll just give up land. And what I have learned now, I think, is that all you'll do is give them land for a platform. The enemies of Israel, they don't want a two-state solution. They say it openly. They want a one-state solution. So if you give them the land, they'll set themselves up to try to take the rest of the land. So you got to show strength. I've learned that. And as we could see in one of your pieces there, the indoctrination of the children on the other side, they are taught that, Jews are vermin. They must be exterminated. It's way beyond just a desire to have the land back. It's to have it cleaned of what they think is, like I said, basically vermin. So that's very disturbing, and I think that's going to take something as big as denazification took in Germany after World War II. And then finally, the jihadists, you can see this worship of death that they have. Adele, she and her friends in their kibbutzim around Gaza, they were hiring Gazans, they were having them in, they were first-name basis and all this. What happened on the other side is those Gazans went back, gave the information to Hamas about who was living where and how many people. They worship death, basically. These people, the Jews wanted to give them a good life in Gaza. That's what Adele believed they could have, and all that the Gazans wanted in the end was to wipe them out. And so it's a very scary picture when you actually get over here and get to see it every day.
Yeah, you're right. Chuck, you've covered war zones in this area for years. What do you think that people need to understand about this war?
Every war has its own flavor. The flavor of this war is that the Israelis cannot separate themselves from it. It is right there on their doorstep all the time. And as Paul pointed out, in the story you showed us, the people down there in that kibbutz right along the border, they were trying to reach out to the Palestinians. They were trying to befriend the Palestinians, and it didn't work out so well. One of the things that it just makes me shake my head about this whole issue, about what happened on October 7th, is that the Israelis have a pretty stringent, compared to the United States, system of allowing people to get firearms for self-protection. And to do so, you have to prove that you have some kind of threat that you're facing in order to get a gun. And there were many people that lived down there that actually didn't qualify up till October 6th, didn't qualify for a firearm because the government said, you don't have any threat, there's no threat. And the misunderstanding of their neighbors, or the maybe willful ignorance, maybe just trying to this is a normalcy bias, this is the way that all of us kind of work in our lives. We try to portray our enemies as if they're just like us, and so they just want the same things we do. Well, in this case, it's just not like that. They don't want the same things we do. We worship life and flourishing. They worship death and hatred. And as long as they worship death and hatred, that's going to be a high threat area. And so it makes me wonder how many of those people now, when they move back, if they move back, will be looking for a firearms permit to be able to protect themselves and their families. You showed it in your piece there, where they're working on their safe rooms to make them safer. I just wonder if many of them will be looking for firearms.
Well, it could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, so gentlemen, really quickly, in 30 seconds or less, why should Americans care about this war?
Well, obviously, like it was said in one of your pieces there, first the Jews on the Saturday people, and then the Christians, the Sunday people. We have to realize that they think, the radical Islamists think we have a false religion, and they think they have permission, in fact, an order from Allah to wipe us out eventually, or at least make us some sort of slaves, you know, dhimmis, I think they call it. But whatever, it's a frightening story that the Jews will go down first, but then they will come for us.
I think people need to understand that this is World War III, and that the forces of darkness, the forces of hatred and death, have a target on all of us, and they only understand one language, and that language is violence. And so if you want to communicate with them, if you want to deter them, the only way you do that is with violence. You know, talking to them is probably not going to work too well.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for your insights, and may people hear and understand.
Thank you, Julie.
Still ahead, the Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast comes to Times Square just before critical debates at the UN. The Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast has a big mission: to mobilize the church around the world, government leaders, and key influencers to pray for the peace of Jerusalem and Israel's prosperity. Its director, Albert Wexler, stopped by our studio recently to talk with Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell about the next event coming up in New York City.
Albert Wexler with the Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast. Thanks for joining us. Tell us, how do you think Israelis are feeling right now with the possibility of a looming war?
How we're feeling? Israelis are very tense, I must say. And it almost feels like they say, hey, you either attack us or you don't. I mean, they're tired of waiting. It seems like it's very similar to the Six-Day War type of waiting, when Israel waited for 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. And, well, the time will show. Yeah. What will happen.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a big thing coming up next month.
Yes.
You've been involved in the prayer breakfast. Well, you've helped found it. So tell us about the prayer breakfast, and why is next month's one so important?
September 15, 16 in New York. Well, it's the UN General Assembly meeting week, and they will send, the governments will send their, ambassadors to vote against Israel. You don't need to be a prophet to realize that we will face a diplomatic tsunami. And what we are asking is that nations, people from every state, from every city of the United States of America would come and stand in the gap, not only for Israel, but also for their countries, for their states, for their cities, for their families. Because, we so often find ourselves not agreeing with what our governments are doing. And as they send their ambassadors to condemn Israel for protecting, our civilians and our towns and cities that have been evacuated, and our country and our very existence, we have to bring the Christians to pray. And I think many will come. Many will stand, and many will join us, because they feel it is important to pray for the peace of Jerusalem at this time.
Yeah. And since October 7th, how important is it, even more important, to be praying for Israel because of this tsunami you're talking about, and the anti-Semitism that's going global?
Well, it is most important commandment, I think, in the Bible. You think I'm exaggerating, but the Word of God says, pray for the peace of Jerusalem, may they prosper who love you. And then, at every Jewish wedding, the groom is about to kiss the bride. He says, if I forget you, O Jerusalem. So, is it important to pray, to remember, to lift Jerusalem as our highest joy, as the Bible commands us? I think it is. And so many things get aligned right when we place Jerusalem in the place where God wants us to place it. So many things within the nation, within the policy. God's foreign policy doctrine, he declared it already to Abraham. He who blesses you will be blessed. He who curses you will be cursed. And all the nations, all the families of the earth shall be blessed because of you.
So finally, Albert, how can people know about this? How can people attend in person?
It's easy. You just visit our website, jpbny.org, and request for an invitation. Just one click and we'll give you all the information, jpbny.org.
Okay. Albert Vexler, great to be with you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris. Always a pleasure.
Well, that's all for this edition of Jerusalem Dateline. Thanks for joining us. Remember, you can follow us on social media, and you can access CBN content through our CBN apps. And don't forget to sign up for our email blasts. And please continue to pray for the peace of Jerusalem, for the safety of IDF soldiers and all those caught in harm's way, and for the return of the hostages. And remember, the God who's watching over Israel and you and me neither slumbers nor sleeps. I'm Julie Stahl. We'll see you next time on Jerusalem Dateline.